During the COVID-19 pandemic shutdown, Canadian alternative band July Talk planned an epic 2 nights of back-to-back concerts at the Stardust Drive In Theatre, just north of Toronto. Just hours before the second show was about to begin, the Yorkville Sound Podcast sat down with the July Talk production crew to talk about life as a live music professional during the pandemic, and specifically, what went into planning the drive-in idea from concept to concert.
Hey everybody, this is Darren Butt, Pro Audio Product Specialist at Yorkville Sound, here in the Stardust Drive In movie theater in Sharon, Ontario, Canada, talking with the crew from July Talk. So how's everybody doing?
Great.
Lovely.
Wonderful. Good.
Some long hours have been put into the show, I'm assuming.
A couple.
Yeah.
A couple
A
hours.
A couple long hours. So to give you perspective, July Talk, a band formed in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, has throwing on 2 events, back-to-back shows here in Sharon, Ontario, Canada, both sold out. One happened last night. So the important question is, how did that go?
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Felt so good.
Okay, felt so good. And particularly, why would this concert feel any different than any other concert?
Well, it's just been a long time since we've been around a big group of people doing a show, and it's like, you know, it was all very like responsible, but it was so nice to just do a show and like watch your friends make music and just like be a part of it. It was so good.
But also, like, it's incredibly unique too what we were trying to do and accomplish with it. Like, it's not like going into a festival and just setting up and playing a show. You know, the whole drive-in element of it, the social distancing element. There's just a lot of moving parts to kind of figure out logistically how we were going to pull it off.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, the stream, all of it, like the live stream of it. It's a huge amount of work, and seeing it all come together and come off beautifully last night was really fulfilling, you know? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Was this your first gig, sort of, during this pandemic?
My first since March
My
13th,
first
so
since-
4 months.
Wow.
Same
Yeah.
for
5
me,
months?
yeah.
July Talk and I did a Canada Day live stream
Okay.
prior, but yeah, I mean, first like real full-on show since lockdown.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
it's important that you brought up live streams. Live streaming seemed, or still seems to be, the way of entertainment, at least safely. What are your opinions of live streams? I mean, you said that you were doing audio for July Talk for the live stream. How did that go?
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. It's a different world, you know, mixing for broadcast versus live is definitely a different headspace.
Right.
But I think considering the social climate that we're in, like this is what we have to do to get product out there and keep music alive and have people be heard still. You know, I think it's the safest, most responsible way to do it. So I think we're all just trying to adapt to figure out how to keep delivering in really unique and inventive ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a new medium for us. We're not used. That's one of the biggest challenges in building the show, was that we're all in new ground here, you know, and adding the streaming element to it. The band comes from members of the band come from a filming production background, so they didn't just want to throw up a couple of cameras. They wanted to make sure that it was done creatively, and that added an extra element of challenge, but it also made it so much more impactful. I think it was a really amazing product that, you know, that we got to last night, because it was we have some of the best and most creative people in Canada working on this show, who are normally so busy that you can't even speak to them. So, you know, it's been a challenge, but it's also been an incredible opportunity, I think, at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just ask you a couple questions. We're going to go back in time now, sort of life before the pandemic. So, you know, right up to about March 2020, what did all three of you see yourselves doing?
I had a full year, full schedule booked. I worked for a few artists. We were going to the Junos, we were doing Coachella, we had a whole summer of festivals, a fall tour, all of it, you know, just a full lucrative year ahead. And overnight kind of disappeared, you know, and we've all just been kind of navigating and trying to figure it out since then.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same. I had a fully stocked calendar into, you know, late 2021, and now it was all just gone. And it's you know, it's hard for everybody, I think, for the artists as well as the techs. I mean, you know, I feel so bad for the artists that were like starting a cycle and, you know, just released records that they're really proud of and can't do anything with. Like, that's really tough, for same as it is for the crew, you know. So
Yeah. I'm 100% the same. I was on tour in Europe until the day I had to fly home to Canada and go straight into quarantine for 14 days. And we were working on the start of the July Talk cycle. So, you know, the record came out a couple months back, and we had all these plans for summer festivals and touring in the fall and through next year, and it's all been shelved. And yeah, it's quite scary. People have this idea that the music industry is just, you know, a world paved in gold, and everyone, you know, it's there's a lot of people. It's a gig economy, and there's a lot of people working behind the scenes extremely hard, and none of those people have jobs anymore.
Right.
And like you said, for the artists as well, you know, to be an artist is a job unless you're, well, it is a job for everybody, but unless you're Jay-Z or Beyonce, you have to be out on the road to make money. So it's hitting everybody in our industry equally right now.
Right. So now, speaking of sort of the pandemic time or the self-isolation time, you mentioned that you were quarantined.
Yep.
So, I mean, starting with you, how is the self-isolation time like? Like, how is the downtime? You know, not being able to do what you love, doing shows, things just coming to a halt. What were things like emotionally?
I got really lucky. I was on the road right through the start of the year. So I came home from tour, and I did exactly what I normally do when I come home from tour, which is not see another human being for 2 weeks. I don't want anyone bugging me.
Essentially, right? Yeah.
He's been practicing for like 10 years.
I've got lockdown.
Social distance
on
master.
lockdown. Like, I'm fine with that, but I'm a positive person. I try and take as much. I've taken the opportunities from it. You know, it is not great to have your career thrown in a garbage can overnight, almost. But you know, a lot of us in our industry needed a second to stop and reassess. So it's been fine. I would like to be able to do it again now that it's been a couple of months, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a restart anytime soon. So that is going to be interesting to see how the industry survives, because whether there's going to be venues to go back to when we eventually can resume international touring is a real question.
Yeah, and what that capacity will look like, and social
Exactly,
distancing.
yeah,
right?
because this reduced capacity shows are entirely unsustainable. It's not workable in any long-term format. So we definitely have a lot of challenges ahead. That's for sure.
How about you, Louise? How was the downtime?
Really nice, actually. It was really nice to just like take the time and sort of enjoy being at home with my partner and my cat, you know. And but it got to a point where it was like, okay, I'm done with this like break now. You know,
Vacation, downtime.
downtime. I'm over it, and I'd like to be back at work. And I think, like, you know, the thing that got me through was just like disappearing off into the woods for, you know, I basically just spent the summer camping and being
Nice.
away just to cope with no work, you know, trade one thing I love for the other and hope that I make it through. You
Exactly,
know?
right?
That's it. And then this show that kind of took over our collective lives when it became a thing, you know, which was nice. Nice to dive into it. So, yeah.
And how about you, Karen?
I'm kind of in agreement in that. I think it was kind of a needed thing for a lot of people in the industry, whether we want to openly admit that or not. I do think a lot of us are just like such high functioning addicts of work that you never take a day off. You never have a day off. When you have a day off, it's not a day off. You know,
Right.
you're working on the next thing,
Right.
or So I'm trying to kind of hang on to that ideology of like this could be a really good thing if you use the time wisely and kind of just keep supporting your colleagues and your friends, and it will come back. The industry will come back. It's just a matter of when we can do it again. So
Yeah.
I think the time off is needed and deserved for a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily allow themselves that opportunity.
Well, I mean, you've definitely shown that, at least a part of it or a piece of it can come back with something like this. Yeah, there isn't a huge PA system, 18,000 watts in front of the audience. There's not a bunch of people in a mosh pit, but
There's actually
this
more watts sitting in front of you.
lighting watts probably, right? From what I've heard and what I've seen on social media, I even had some friends who came out last night. The show looked fantastic. It was great. Anything different tonight, or is tonight going to be sort of a repeat of what was last night? Or?
Same but better, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Boy, I got all the kinks all out.
Yeah, all the 5 months of rust is shaken off. So
Everything,
it'll be-
everybody too, artists included, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
The rust is
Right.
a real thing.
rust is a real thing,
And if
right?
tonight's better than last night, it's going to be, it's going to be a holy cow moment.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I had the privilege of being able to walk around the site when the show was on and just see how much the audience were, just how excited and how emotional people were just to have live music back. And I will speak for myself, but I think I can probably count on some support here. But I take for granted sometimes what I do and the power of what we do to some people. And people are lined up out there right now when I got here the early afternoon, and they're just so excited to have concerts back in their life, and working in live music, maybe you take it for granted a little bit, that how important it is to some people's lives and their routine, that they live for live music. So
And mental health,
absolutely.
Oh, mental health's
yeah.
huge. Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
massive. I mean, my mental health. It's I won't ever take it for granted again. Like never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
How long did this show take to plan? Or like when did you first hear that this was a go and you could start planning things?
3-4 months, maybe 2 months, 3 months.
I'd say about 2 months. We
Yeah.
really kind of dove in, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of different approaches that we took in the beginning, and a lot of design and redesign, and just trying to figure out what the best solution is for all departments to give each department what they all need without compromising, what the band strives for, and our level of production as well. So trying to do it all, but with whatever resources we had available
Right.
to us. So yeah, it was a lot of starting over, and just kind of
Yeah.
talking through ideas and thoughts. And
It was a challenge in the first place because when the show was first discussed, we didn't know we still don't know where we're going to be in a couple months, but it was very unclear because it was things are starting to open up now. Stores are open, bars and restaurants are back open again, but that wasn't the case when we started talking about the show. So we really had no clue what we were walking into and what the environment was going to look like.
or if it would happen.
Or if it
it's
would
always
happen.
that was
right?
gonna be my
Like,
question.
yeah.
Is all of a sudden cases start going up, and then nope, this can't happen. How does a production of this size just all of a sudden stop?
Yeah.
Well, I think we all had kind of mentally prepared for that, though.
Right.
We
Yeah.
went into it knowing that this could potentially go away the day before we're supposed to.
Because it's
load
happened
in.
already to you.
Yeah,
right?
cautiously
Yeah.
optimistic, right? I
Right.
think was the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing we had in our favor is everyone is sitting at home twiddling their thumbs. Everything you can see here, this tour bus, the truck that's behind it, the staging, everyone who's working on this show is sitting at home right now because nobody has any productions to work on. So
Right.
we were probably able to give it more time than we would have traditionally if it was slotted in amongst a summer full of festivals, you know what I mean? When
Good
we're
point.
hustling to do 3-4 other things that week. So that was I guess a positive, but we kind of got our heads together early and worked. Louise built out the design for the show.
Which looks great, by the way.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
And the band are very much involved in the creative process at every single level.
Yeah.
So
Which
that's
is amazing.
That's amazing.
You know.
So yeah, you worked on the design, and then we kind of got our heads together, had some Zoom meetings like everyone else, and kind of collaborated from there on how it was going to move forward. But there was a lot of intersectionality between the departments, more so than on a traditional production, between video and the filming crew and the live stream element and audio. It's been a really challenging where the departments intersect, and that's been one thing where it's required a lot of cooperation between our team internally. But I think last night was the first time when the show went up, and I was able to actually see the video feed for the very first time, and it just blew me away.
Right.
What they had done with it, and the lights, and how it sounded in the cars. It was amazing.
Well, it's great you brought that up, because I was going to ask that as a question, Karen. What's it like mixing for the FM band?
The same but different, there were a lot of variables to take into account. It's a really large space that we have here to work with. There are multiple FM zones, and then also doing the live stream from the same desk, There were just like a lot of moving parts, but I think once all the time and delay compensation and once all the audio was able to be aligned the way that we needed it to for where everybody was sitting, the approach to mixing was more or less the same. You work within a different frequency range for FM, but same kind of rock and roll approach to the mixing part of it.
Turn it up, don't
once
clip,
we got
right?
Once we got all the math out of the way, it was just kind of business as usual, I think.
Beautiful, awesome.
But I think you're underplaying how much math was involved in it, based
it was
on
a lot of math.
From an expert, obviously, right?
ensuring the video here was synced up with the audio and also the stream as well. There were a lot of moving parts.
I mean,
sure.
just dealing with acoustically what's coming off the stage and where the front row of cars are versus where the last row of cars are.
Reflections off of cars.
You have that has to line up.
Yeah.
If you're walking from the front to the concession all the way at the back, that's 400 feet away.
Right.
That has to be seamless. We have a little supplementary PA on top of the concession to kind of fill in the area for restrooms or people picking up their merch, buying food, but. That was the most challenging part, I think, from the audio design. How do we approach this? Obviously we went with no PA, and kind of put our focus into the live stream and the FM to also encourage safety protocol too, right? Because we want to keep people kind of in their designated areas for the show and keep people safe and distance, but also provide them with a really unique and as close to a live concert experience as we can.
Yep.
And the no PA thing was an opportunity to utilize that for lighting, which maybe you want to speak on that.
Yeah, please do. I was going to ask about. So yep.
Yeah. I mean, I never get to use those points, so.
I was going to say they look a lot like speakers, but.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think about something interesting to do that would just kind of bring it all together and make it feel like a show, but because I knew we were going to have a PA, and I knew I was going to miss it, so I was like, maybe I can make it a light PA instead. So I just threw a bunch of light bulbs at it, essentially.
Right. Yeah, it's like a line array of bulbs, right?
Exactly.
It looks fantastic too.
It's,
right. And it doesn't leave anything missing. Where typically, if there wasn't a PA, it'd be like something's missing here, but the general audience may not know. But at least as a sound tech, I first came in, I thought that's brilliant. Because I knew there wasn't going to be any PA, so that's genius.
When I presented it to the band, I dubbed it my ode to audio. So
here you go. Yeah.
Just to be like, I'm taking advantage of a situation, but I'm going to miss something as well.
Right. Right.
So,
yeah.
And the great thing on the show last night was that when the first reveal that was actually lighting, because the only people that would notice that is lighting are production people.
Us, right?
And when those lights first came in, the gasps from the crowd that was impressive, because I was out there then, and
Oh, really?
people were blown away.
I was in my ears. I didn't hear that.
No,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
they were shocked for
Nice.
sure.
Sweet.
Nice.
That was the idea.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Times 2 for tonight.
Yeah.
So, sort of speaking about the self-isolation time again, while at home, can you share some of the thoughts you had about the future of live music? And I don't mean now, but like a couple months ago. What were you thinking the future of live music would be, if any?
A few months ago? I don't know.
I mean, my thoughts have always been it's obviously going to come back. Like we live entertainment has been around forever. So I think the scariest part was like when, and obviously having not reached kind of the peak of the pandemic at the time, it was like so uncertain. And there was just a lot of speculation and a lot of discussions about what the future looked like. But I think from a personal standpoint, I tried to stay away from that because, all the speculation, what if, what could happen, what may not happen, I don't think it's necessarily healthy to focus on that. I think I kind of just try to live now, and like if there's something coming up, cool. And if we have to wait a little bit to keep it safe for artists and crew and the concert goers, like that's what we have to do, you know. And as hard as it is to do, because this is our livelihood, this is how we make a living and support ourselves and our families, that's the responsible thing to do. So if we have to wait, we just kind of have to figure out how to keep doing stuff like this to keep it interesting and alive for people, so that when we do come back, it's just really responsible and at the level we left it off at, I think.
Yeah, and that was priority number one from the band, passed down to me, and then throughout our team, was to make sure that everything that was on this show was built around safety and security, and that we had clear guidelines in place when we came into it for everyone who's working on site, because I think it would have been irresponsible to approach this in any other manner. There are a lot of people who are normally very busy on the road who are not on the road right now, and like you were saying about speculation, there's it's not our job to draft policy for a pandemic. None of us have ever been in this situation, so we have to trust in the guidelines that are laid down from the scientists and the infectious diseases experts, and know that we exist in an industry that has, putting 12, 20, 40, 60, 100 people on tour buses and having them visit tens of thousands of people in different cities and then move between those cities during a pandemic is just simply not feasible. And
we're basically a traveling hazard.
Talking about
That's happening right
super
now.
spreaders.
It's like a carnival of virus.
So, I think all of us and all of our team understand that, and we wanted to build what we do over these couple of days around that as a core, with the guidelines that we put in place with Live Nation, who put the show on. So.
And I'm just seeing here, like, everyone's wearing a mask, everyone is physical distancing. You're doing an excellent job. Even from when I came here, mask first on. Everyone's staying in the car 6 feet away. Like, it's just a great, safe way for people to be able to enjoy entertainment and at the same time be safe, right? Which is
I mean,
most
it's
important.
safe to say that we all miss it a lot. And it's not just us, it's crowds, it's bands, everybody misses it. But I don't think that there's a sacrifice level that nobody should really take, and that we should, embrace the opportunities that we get for this, but not, overblow it and just like take some time to relearn how to do it again together. Like that's, making art together and like hearing music together is going to be different, and it's going to evolve, and the only way to do that is to be part of the evolution and move forward. Like as Karen said, like live entertainment's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's just taking a little pause, and we're just trying to figure out how to do it again, because there's so many people that love it, rely on it, want it, miss it, and we're all sitting here because of that. So.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it is a pretty historic time that we're in right now. Like, this is going to be discussed and talked about and learned about, you know, so I think how we all handle it in the now is really important, so that when we look back on it, and it is a part of world history, not just, you know, Canadian history or American history or wherever you are. It's,
Right.
Yeah,
and this is a
Proud of the fact
universal
that,
thing.
proud of the fact that we took care of each other during it, you know.
absolutely, yeah.
That's the main goal. So
And like you're saying, safety first, right? That's,
yeah,
you know, the most
safety
important,
first.
right?
That's kind of always been the mantra of a show, is safety first, and
Right.
here we are.
Good call. Like, nothing's changed, really, right? Just depending on the level of safety, whether that's somebody who's fallen down in a mosh pit and needs to come back up versus, you know, staying 6 feet apart, but yet being able to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, our industry's had a lot of challenges in the last 10 years with things like the Bataclan and the Las Vegas and Ariana Grande shows. And for an industry that prides itself on being able to pivot and being adaptable in any situation, as we have to be by the nature of what we do, you know, the least we could do is be able to pivot and adapt to these working conditions. I mean, it's hot out here today, and it's
Yeah.
not pleasant wearing a mask for 12 hours. But
that's why we're in the shade. But
I'm not a surgeon doing, like, trying to save somebody's life
Right.
in a hospital day, like 5-6 days a week. So, you know,
Yeah.
a bit
Well,
of perspective is needed.
yeah.
Correct.
Get over that fast, you know. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Awesome. So, how happy are you to be back?
Oh man, that's a heavy-duty question.
Yeah. You can't see any of the facial
Yeah,
expressions
that's why-
we've been able to do for this whole thing, so I think,
I think I hear the smiles.
yeah.
I can definitely feel them.
Last night was definitely, like, when the show was on, that was a moment of realization for all the work that's gone into this, all the hard work and head banging against the wall, trying to figure out, trying to problem solve and make things happen. Seeing the final product again after so long was really special for me, and I know we talked about that. You know,
Oh man, that first car horn, I was just like, oh man.
Right. This is like the first note kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
I was
this
like,
is on.
it was like the first class. It was like hearing the band come on, except it was a car horn. I was
Wow.
like, oh my god, this is a show. We're doing a show.
Yeah.
Holy crap, you know, like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
and like it was like an ear-to-ear smile the whole time, you know.
I'm sure you just weren't feeling that. The artists, the crowd, but everybody.
Oh, that's
everybody,
I think,
right?
I think it was a collective vibe.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it was a collective feeling from like backstage to, you know, the entrance. It was just like, it's a show.
right?
Yeah.
And a
That-
heck of one, because again, it looks fantastic. So yeah.
That
really,
that
really appreciate it.
energy of everybody being together definitely came back really quickly. I think there was a lot of nerves, a lot of anxiety, you know, just so much stress kind of prepping and getting ready for it, and then seeing if it was doable and if we were able to pull it off in the way that we needed to. And I think once you know, that song, the first song hit, it was just kind of like, okay, cool, like we're
Yeah, you
back,
could see everyone
you know,
relax
like-
into it after
Right.
a couple of days of
Right.
just
Yeah.
Like, Karen and I had a talk about this last night, and we forgot about the goosebumps that you get operating a show. And there's a song in the set, and we felt it at the same time, that was just like, it was like a head to toe shiver and goosebump. And we're like, this is why we did all of this stuff. It's why we worked so hard for the last couple of months, is to, like, this is the reason why, you know? That was...
Yeah, I definitely think I blacked out for a few songs there, just from like elation of being able to be back with,
Yeah.
especially these guys too. You know, like
Oh, yeah.
we love this band so much, and like we've all been
So
together
much.
for so long. You know, we're all such a close family. You know, that like for this to be the first show back for us, like it was just
Yeah.
so special. Like,
Together,
it was just
right, like,
yeah,
yeah.
Absolutely, that sounds like a cliche or something, but it really is true. You know, genuinely some of the most creative and humble and amazing human beings, and which is why we're all here working for them. And it was great that it was July Talk, and it was great that it was a show that so many of our friends have poured so much blood, sweat, and tears and emotion. And you know, I was on the side stage as well, and just everyone was grinning ear to ear. Even on the stage, crew, it was great.
everybody in the audience, obviously. too,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I just want to say thank you for having us at Yorkville Sound here. Karen, Louise, Doug, thank you so much. You know,
Thank
you're
you.
super busy, so to take time out of your day for this is extremely important
No
for us. You know, let's hope this goes forward and this isn't the last of the concerts. We hope July Talk have many concerts. If you want to see the show, it's being live streamed. Feel free to Google July Talk on social media, Instagram, Facebook. They'll be live streaming. And for more information, yeah, feel free to visit www.yorkville.com. And thank you to July Talk. Thank you to the crew. And everybody stay safe. And thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.